Typically, I don't do a lot of talking in my videos, but in this video, I'm gonna share with you 5 tips of things that you can do when you're setting up and restoring your vintage bikes. So let's get to it.
This first tip is on setting up V-brakes. First, you want to screw out the barrel adjuster on the brake lever most of the way. And then with the cable installed on the bike, you want to clamp down using your hand the brake pads so they're up against the rim as if it stopped. Clamp down your cable. If you haven't already, you want to cut it and clamp it at the end, tuck it behind for V-brakes. Then screw the barrel adjuster back in. This allows you then to adjust it and fine-tune the brakes so that they have just enough space relieving the tension on the brake cable to give you just enough space for a good braking. Tip number 2 is for installing and removing pedals. Using a 15mm wrench, or a pedal wrench, which is typically 15mm. To remove pedals, you want to push backwards from the top, like you're pedaling backwards. This will loosen the pedals, whether it's the right or the left. The right side is a normal thread type, so installing, you want to thread it forward when coming from the top, or clockwise, looking at the pedal. But I just like to remember it by going forward. Forward for install, and backward for remove. It works on the left side also, go backward, although the left is threaded opposite, but it still works. Go to the back and you'll remove the pedal. To reinstall, you're going to go forward again also, but because you're on the other side of the bike, it's threading it the opposite way. So forward to tighten and install, and reverse or backward to remove. Tip number 3 is on removing stickers. Now this is on my Ritchie Ultra. I've got some old Judy forks on the front that have this really big red sticker. I mean, it's authentic, it's vintage, but I really like the black and white look of the Ultra, so I want to remove these. And to remove stickers like this from a bike, I recommend using a heat gun or a hair dryer, something to warm up and heat up that glue so that it removes easy. When you heat it up like this, it makes the glue softer in a way. It makes it much easier to peel off and leaves a lot less residue. So once you've heated up the sticker, you may need to heat it up a few other times, but heating it up as you go and removing it will make it much cleaner, much easier to remove. Now if you're removing stickers off of a frame, sometimes they might be under a clear coat, and sometimes this trick wouldn't work. But these stickers on the suspension fork are all on the surface, and they'll remove easily that way. This works also with stickers people have put on the bikes. And if you do have some leftover residue, most of you will have some WD-40 in the shop. This works really well for just breaking up that old goo and gunk from the stickers themselves. And a couple wipes and your fork or your bike will be nice and clean where you removed those stickers.
This next tip is on setting up your derailleur. Even before you connect the derailleur cable, you want to make sure that it's lined up right with the limit screws for both the smallest cog and the largest cog. When you're looking down at your derailleur, try to look at it as straight as you can. You want to see if the top pulley, which is right down here, lines up when it's sitting with no tension, that it lines up with the smallest cog. If it doesn't, you have 2 limit screws, and it's not always obvious which limit screw is stopping which. But you can see this top one, when I adjust it, it's moving the derailleur pulley arm back and forth. So when I adjust this top limit screw, it changes
the position of the pulley arm. And I want to line it up so that it lines up just right with this smallest cog. Now to align the top, the largest cog, I need to push my derailleur out. And I can see that I'm going a little past. So I'm going to screw this bottom limit screw in just a bit. Check it again. I've gone slightly too far, so I'll maybe turn it just about 1/8 of a turn back. And we're looking good now. Now that I connect my cable to my derailleur, I can set it on the lowest setting with the least amount of tension on the cable, and I know that I'm lined up to start out with this bottom cog, and that when I shift all the way to the top, that I'm not going to overshift past the top cog and get my chain stuck in between the spokes and the cog. And we're good to go. My last tip is how to keep your saddle leather looking awesome. I like to use a lot of old vintage flight saddles. Every time I find one, I like to use it. And the secret to making it look nice is using Obanoff's heavy-duty leather preservative. I really like Obanoff's because it's all natural. It's made here in the USA, and it's actually good for your skin. And it actually works best if you've got it in your hands and you've rubbed it on with the heat of your hands. Helps to soften it up and helps it absorb into the leather more. And by applying it, rubbing it on your saddle, it really works really well in preserving the leather, especially where it's getting dry and cracked and worn. The leather preservative, once rubbed in, really makes a big difference. And it works best if you apply it liberally and use, like I said, the heat of your hands to help it absorb and soak into that leather. Once I've done this, I do like to let it sit for a little bit and just soak in with a good layer on top after rubbing it in really good. This works really well on like older style leather saddles, like full-on leather saddles like Brooks saddles. It's also a great way to break it in, but it's also a great way to preserve these older saddles. So I hope you all found these tips useful. If you did, let me know in the comments below. If you have some other tips that you'd like to maybe be seen in a future video, share those also in the comments below. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe and look for opportunities to give those old things new life. And I'll see you on the next video. Ciao. I love this Ritchie Ultra. Such an awesome bike. Set up for someone who's in better shape than me. The climbing gears, the lowest gear is a 1-to-1. It's a 28 in the front on the small and a 28 in the rear. I'm not that strong.